minutes on this. Coding is not a choice, okay? Now, you might say, oh, but you're saying that because you come from that background and you have a lot of interest in that area. That's why you're telling us to do that. Absolutely not. I am also not from that background. I am a BBA and an MBA in marketing. I spent 3 years in sales. I never did any coding in my life till the age of 27. I had done literally zero. I did not know what a comment was. I did not know what a loop was. Other than the things that we are taught in college and all, school, basic coding, which I don't even remember what was taught in school. The point is that I started learning coding very late at the age of 27. Why? Because I realized that I wanted to get into Excel training I'm talking about 2014. And I realized that if I want to get into Excel training, then at some point I have to, I was very good at Excel already, but I wanted to break that ceiling. Like I could do everything despite being a non-coder. That's how I was projecting myself, that I'm such a brilliant Excel user. But given that I'm a non-coder, but that is ridiculous, right? Like you can't go to a company and say, this is my limitation. But with my limitation, I'm very good. Nobody cares about that. So I bought this book, right? I got a hard copy of this book, Excel 2016, Power Programming with BPA, right? I got the book and I started reading it cover to cover. To be honest, I loved it, right? I mean, it's very hard to explain why I loved it, but I loved it. In my heart, I always knew I'm going to love coding. Even though I picked up commerce, I'm a commerce student. I'm a non-engineer, BBA and MBA. I somehow knew I'm going to love it, and I did. I mean, the first time I picked up the book and turned to page number 1, I knew this is my life. This is what I would love to do. So that helped. Obviously, that helped, right? But that's not to say that it was easy. It was a long journey. I had to spend 2.5 years just reading, working hard. Back in 14, there wasn't so much on YouTube and online courses and all. Simply Learn, I remember, had just started at that time. I did a few courses there. I did not like it. But then I did not give up. I think the biggest takeaway I can give to all of you is perseverance, right? You just cannot give up. You just have to believe in the fact that if you do a little bit every day, it starts to add up. So I would say the first part of the journey was very slow, where I always used to ask myself, will I ever be able to actually write a code myself? I did a project for the World Bank, the Ease of Doing Business Index, in which India's ranking, you've seen, right, has been improving from 130 to 100 to 77. I don't know what the current ranking is, but the EODB ranking for India became 100. Right? Now it is 63. But in 2017, it had become 100. And that year, I had done this one, right? Makes it to the top 100. This report was delayed a lot, but we had done the work in 2017. And when I was doing this project, I was the project manager, right? I was working with a startup back then. When we were working on this project, I used to sit with the coding team because we were developing an app to administer a survey and get responses. And I'll tell you, I used to sit with the lead programmer and just look at him working. And I would say I would understand maybe 2% or 5% of what he was doing. And in my heart, I said, you know what, I have to learn it. I don't care how I'm going to do it, but I have to do it. Honestly, it's very hard to say how, everybody says there is that turning point in your life, that one discussion, that one conversation. That is ridiculous. There are no turning points in life. There are no amazing, eye-opening moments that happen. It's just pure hard work. You just have to give it hard work. I'm not going to tell you that one person changed my life and that one event changed my life. That is ridiculous. There are many events that have changed my life. And I've constantly, again and again and again, worked hard when I had a challenge, right? So I kept on telling myself that I don't care if I don't feel like doing it, I have to do it, right? Other people are doing other stuff. I have to commit to it and I have to stay up till 6 a.m. through the night and work on it. I think at the end, it all boils down to hard work. I don't think there's anybody who has achieved anything in the corporate who will come back and tell you that I am a smart guy. I don't work hard. I became successful just by being smart. You tell me, you have interacted with people in the corporate. You will be having more guest lectures. You'll be meeting a lot of CXOs and VPs and all of that. Is there any one person who will ever, You can even imagine anybody telling you that, no, I'm a smart worker. I don't believe in working hard. I work 40 hours a week. I enjoy my weekends with my family. I don't work beyond the committed. That is ridiculous. If you want to achieve something in an accelerated manner, then you have to work hard. You can't expect to work 40 hours a week and be successful. It's not going to happen. I mean, this is a welcome to adult life. This is not going to happen, right? Your college is not the toughest part of your life, right? If you feel, oh, now I only get 4 hours of sleep and I have assignments and meetings and all of that, it's going to get tougher. Okay, this is the safest environment you're going to have. The last point of your life, you're going to have a safe environment where there aren't deadlines, and if you don't do something, there are no repercussions. What is the worst thing that will happen if you don't submit an assignment? You will get a bad grade. When you're working, you don't have a choice. You have to do it. When people say you have to stay up 48 hours without sleep, you have to do it. Anyway, back to the point. Very simple. Coding is a necessity, everyone. You have to learn coding. And I have explained that many times. I'll just remind you once again. Excel has coding in it, right? So Script Lab has JavaScript, TypeScript in it, right? And it just disappeared for some reason. Hold on. And I don't want to hear silly excuses like, but other people are not doing it. I have not heard other people that this is important. Who else is better at telling you about Excel than me? If I start talking about financial analytics, I'm probably not the best guy. Excel, I'm your guy, right? Excel has TypeScript and JavaScript in it. If you're still choosing not to learn it, telling silly reasons that, but others are not doing it, it has not become pervasive in the market, it will only be needed 3 years later. You don't start learning when other people already started learning, right? If you want to be ahead of the curve, then you have to start right now. That's why if you notice, one of the courses that I've given to you is on this, right? Which is on Introduction to JavaScript with Google Sheets. And there's another course which is Future of Excel with JavaScript and TypeScript, right? This is the right time. You will have an early mover advantage if you start learning these things now. VBA obviously will always be there. Like I said, in Power BI, you have Power Apps and Power Automate. That also requires coding. Everybody who I meet in the corporate, and I have lots of friends and acquaintances, everybody tells me the same thing. I just had a call today with a senior HR business leader. Won't share details with you. She called up with a mutual reference. She said, Havish, I have 27 years of experience, and she's heading HR, right, at a really large company. And she said that, let me just say that it's one of India's largest telecom companies, right? Not telecom as in V and Airtel, but telecom as in an infrastructure company. And she said, I have 27 years of experience and I have to learn coding. Literally, I had this call in the evening today. She said, I want to learn Excel and automate it. Not essentially coding, but I said, what you're talking about is coding. You can't automate on Excel by writing formulas. You have to code, right? Just had that discussion and I sent my details to her. So you have to learn coding, and how you go about it is the right question. So the question is not that, sir, I don't know if I have an interest in it. I don't care if you have an interest or not. You have to do it. There's no choice, right? You can't go to a job interview and say that I don't like doing this. It's ridiculous. Will you say that I don't like making PowerPoint presentations? Will you say that I don't like communicating and interacting with my stakeholders? That's ridiculous, right? I mean, you have to. You have to learn to do it. You can't just say no. That same logic applies to coding as well. You just can't afford to say no. You can't be from the cohort of 2022, right, or 2022 or 2023 and say that no, I don't know this area. Like, you can say that I don't have an interest in the stock market. That's okay. I don't have a demat account. I don't have an interest in the stock market. Whenever I need to work on a project, I learn what is needed. But you can't say that I don't know how to code. The fact that coding is now being taught in schools, whatever shabby job they're doing at least they're doing it, right? If you look at White Hat Junior is a horrible exercise, but at the end of the day, at least the good thing that they're doing is they're encouraging parents to teach coding to their kids. Even if they learn 5% of what they're planning, at least it's a start. I see MBA students who say, we don't know what a loop is. So I would say that a 6th year student at least knows what a loop is. Even though White Hat is doing a shitty job, still they're doing something, right, on that front. So that would be my strong, very strong advice to everyone. Please start to learn to code. The question is where to start learning. I think VBA, Visual Basic for Application, is an excellent starting point. Google Sheets is an excellent starting point. And I have this, at least I would like to believe, I have this fantastic course on Google Sheets. So this is an introduction to JavaScript with Google Sheets. And I'll tell you why I'm so confident about the fact that this is a great course for you. Because I'm a non-coder who now teaches coding at IITs, to computer science engineers. So I really understand your difficulty, right? When you say that we have either studied it in our engineering and now we have forgotten, or we haven't done it and we don't really know if I have an interest in it. So I'm going to explain everything from a business context. I'm not going to explain you the technical stuff and then as an afterthought, tell you how to use it. Right from the ground up, everything is going to be based on actionable business decisions, right? So whatever you learn in coding, how do you apply it to your actual work? Like the other day, I was showing you that Jubilant project, right? The one with the talent tracker. That's a classic example, right, of how coding is required and will continue to be required in the corporate. Right? So I hope that gives you a little bit of clarity. Like I said, I don't have a nice 3-point or a 5-point answer for you, but VBA is the best starting point for you. And if you want to learn anything related to coding on YouTube, you should go to a channel called Free Code Camp. Do not go anywhere other than this. Just don't. Absolutely. I mean, I don't care if there are 10 other, 100 other, 1,000 other channels. You should not go anywhere other than Free Code Camp, right? Free Code Camp, I think, is the right balance between a variety of different skill levels. So anything and everything you want to learn related to coding, not Power BI and Tableau, but coding, this is the best thing. The only thing you have to do is to give time. Courses are long, 4 hours, 8 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. You have to give it time. And you have to learn that skill as to how to, like we say, speed reading. You have to learn how to complete a 4-hour course in 2 hours. Try to understand where I'm coming from. If you don't learn how to finish a 4-hour course in 2 hours, then you will never be able to learn a lot. So you have to get good at it. You have to learn when you can skip some content. You have to learn when you can increase the speed to 2x. You have to be confident that even if I leave the next, 15 minutes, I can always learn that later from an article. And that is something you have to get better at. The ability to identify what learning works best for you. Like yesterday, I was telling you auditing courses. There are a lot of videos that I start, but I don't want them watch them entirely. And I've really trained myself to be good at that. And the same thing applies for reading as well. So when I show you that I have all these websites on Excel, if you say, but sir, can you tell us for this topic, which is the best website for Excel? I can point you in the right direction right now. So if you say, I want something on VBA for Outlook automation, I can tell you, go to a Ron de Bruin. If you say, I want to learn how to automate charts and how to do add-ins on PowerPoint charts, I can tell you, go to John Peltier's website, Peltier Tech. If you say, I simply want to learn, something related to simple formula creation, you can go to Excel Jet. So the ability that I have to tell you that I have 500 websites in my mind, and I can tell you exactly where to go. So in Power BI, if you tell me that I want to learn something on the administration side of Power BI, so I will tell you, go to Guy in a Queue, right? If you say, but I want to learn something really good at Excel dashboards, right? Like the most stunning Excel dashboards that you've ever seen, right? For that, you can go to Chandu. Now, this ability that I have to be able to find the right content and find the right video is a skill. And it's a skill that I have developed over many, many years, right? And this has only come because I read a lot. It's not that I just know what these websites are. I study a lot, right? I mean, if I had to put a number on it, I would say, on an average in a month, I'm doing at least 60 hours of studying, if not more, right? This is in addition to all the corporate consulting and the training work that I'm doing. That's a lot because it starts to add up, right? And I'm telling you very conservatively on the lower side. So if I have been investing 60 hours, 720 hours per year for at least the last 7-8 years, you can imagine the amount of hours I've spent into it, right? And you have to constantly do that. So if you're in data, you have to understand you will never be able to stop learning. You don't have a choice. If you're in HR, marketing, sales, supply chain, after you leave MBA, then the focus is on working hard and building relationships and learning, corporate life. But when you're in data, then you have to constantly learn theory and you have to buy courses and you have to read books. Like just the other day, I don't mind sharing it with you. I bought a book on, I'm learning SQL, right? I think I told you earlier as well. I just purchased this book, Getting Started with SQL, right? This is like an absolute beginner book, but I really wanted to buy it because I realized that, you know what, there are a few things that I just purchased it, right? I still haven't had the chance to read it, but I'm planning to do that. It's a thin book, about 150 pages, and I really want to get my foundations clear. So you will see me reading all the time, right? So, I mean, if I'm doing it, then you have to do it too. Great. I will spend a lot of time on this discussion, but I hope they were takeaways. And the best part is you should not listen to me and either reject what I'm saying or accept blindly what I'm saying. The idea is that whatever I've shared with you, identify the points that I mentioned. Learning coding is important. Power BI is important. Excel coding is important. And then try to speak to other people about it, right? Some of them will share corroboration. So they will say, yes, we support what Havish is telling you. Or they might give you a different spin to it, right? But you will not hear something completely anti what I'm telling you. Nobody's going to come to you and say, no, coding is not required at all. He's completely lying to you. That's, he's fooling you. That's not going to happen, right? So the question again is not about should you learn it? How do I build an interest? Nobody cares if you have an interest in it at all. Sometimes you have to do it because you have to do it. And I believe that if you spend a lot of time doing something and you start getting good at it, you will automatically develop an interest. Think about it. It's a natural evolution, right? And if you say, but I really don't like to do it, you have to learn to like it, right? If you have left coding in engineering and now you say, but what's the purpose of doing an MBA if I have to go back to coding? You don't have a choice. That's the way the world is moving. And you know that, right? I think I share this article with everyone about last article, okay, before we come back to Tableau, about the IT sector job loss due to RPA, right? I believe I've shared this with you already, but anyway, 30 lakh jobs next year are going to be slashed due to automation. What is automation? Automation is just a fancy way of saying coding, right? Because of the fact that tools like RPA are coming in, right? Not tools, but technologies like RPA are coming in. RPA would be UiPath, Loop. I see people with 15, 20 years of core finance marketing experience who are now learning RPA because they realize that so much of their work is getting automated now. And this is not fancy stuff that I'm talking about that, robots will take over the world and all. They already are taking over. I can tell you so many instances when I work with the Big Fours. So I do a lot of consulting work for them, right? So I do so many projects for them where there are chartered accountants working. I'll just give you one example. So they have a project on which there are 7 CAs working, for example. And I get hired by a partner and it's a small project. So a turnaround of 3 days, 4 days. And I do an automation for them, a small user form or some automation bit for them. It could be something as simple as taking the data from Excel and creating a PowerPoint automatically like that. And you know what the partner tells me? He says, Havish, I have 7 people who are working right now. These are people with 2 to 3 years of experience. I'm paying them about 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs a year. That's the starting salary. And they say, I want to reduce it to 3 people. I don't want to pay an extra 4 salaries per month, right? So the moment they say that I can save on that additional 3.2 lakhs, so if you cut down 4 people, you're saving 3.2 lakhs per month. That's a lot of money, right? So they are paying me 3 lakh rupees. They're paying me one time, but they're able to save over a year. They're able to save 36 lakhs. That's the way budget allocation happens and discussions happen. It's all about money, right? For an organization, what is the biggest expense? Salaries. Thumb rule is 70% of expenses for a company other than fixed capital expenditure. CapEx is different. Other than CapEx, 70% of your expenditure is what? 70% of expenditure is salaries, right? For any organization. And every time you say there's an opportunity to save a penny, that starts to add up very quickly, right? And RPA is not, I'm not talking about driverless cars. RPA is already there. Excel already has, Microsoft already has a partnership with Automation Anywhere, which is the largest provider in the world, which allows you to automate Excel, right? So this is already there. Organizations started to use it, and we are so excited and scared at what will happen. Like I have been scared for the last 5 years, thinking that what will happen? Will I continue to be an Excel consultant and a trainer, or will I have to learn new technologies? But I am somebody who gets scared very easily. When I say scared, it doesn't mean I'm very timid, but I get scared because I like to be ahead of the curve. And I would like to know more than other people in the room. Let's put it simple like that, right? I appreciate that there are other people who are better than me, but I am very competitive, right? So if I see another Excel trainer who has done something that I don't know, I have to learn it too. If I feel that I should know it, then I'm not going to give excuses that, oh, this is the reason I don't know it. I have to know it, right? But I am very humble. I understand that anybody who's at any position in any company deserves it. I don't come from the school of thought where I say that, oh, he got lucky or she got lucky and look at them, they have a comfortable life. They're getting 40 lakhs a year, but they're not working. That's ridiculous. No organization is going to pay you money for doing nothing. If anybody is at a point on the ladder where they're earning a certain amount of money, they are earning it. Simple as that, right? They might not have excellent communication skills. They might lack certain other skills that we typically consider to be very important, but that's okay. That person might be very good at sales. That person might be very good at, technical aspects, and they might lack other things. So again, the point I'm trying to say is that you have to be very competitive and you have to learn coding right now. If today, after the session is over, if you tell me that we are so busy that we can't take out 30 minutes to watch a video on YouTube and learn something on coding, stop giving yourself silly excuses that, oh, I did not start because I felt that what will I learn in 30 minutes? Oh, I did not start because I felt that tomorrow I think I will spend 1 hour on it. See, I have been a student myself. We know the way we give excuses to ourselves. These are all stupid excuses. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, if you interact with me after a week, right, and I meet you on the 11th and I say, okay, how much have you learned in coding? And I say, you know what? Because of this, I don't care. I mean, the moment you start your sentence with those 3 words, know that due to this, I don't care. Nobody cares. I don't care if you are busy 20 hours a day. You still have 4 hours a day, right? Nothing will happen if you wake up after 30 minutes and watch a video. Because 30 minutes a day is 2 hours, right? You have to commit that much time. There's no other choice. You have to constantly keep on studying and studying and studying. And then sharing your work with others on LinkedIn and see what they are doing, learn from them, right? When you're applying to live projects, never wait for organizations to come and say that there's a live project that we have to offer. You have to submit. You have to say, see what I made and tell me if there's an opening for me, like that. Anyway, enough talking. I hope that they were takeaways. Like I said, I did not guarantee a clear-cut answer, but maybe hopefully 3 to 5 points you were all able to take out from that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to Tableau, right? We'll keep question and answer at the end. Let me just finish off with the topics first, right? So that we shouldn't speed that up. That also requires some time. So I would like to again open Tableau. Please remember that if you're working on Tableau Public, you will not be able to save your work on your computer. You can't save it as a file. You can only save your work on the cloud, on Tableau Public. If you're working on the regular Tableau, then you can save it as a TBWX file, right? On your computer, like a PBIX file on Power BI. So I assume that some of you are on Tableau Public, some of you are on the regular Tableau. It doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, your data is all public data. So you can save it directly on the cloud or you can save it on your computer. It doesn't make any difference. You will be able to save it. It's not that your work will go to waste. You will definitely be able to save it. But I'm going to work on Tableau Public right now. Okay. All right. So we will work on the same data that we have started with. So we select Excel and I select my Superstore data. So we have data sets and marketing. Let's select that. Okay. The interface is a little different. There are many things in Tableau that are similar and dissimilar to Power BI. So for example, let me just turn on my annotation tool as well. Hold on. 1 second. me turn off the video. That gives you some space. All right. So if you notice, there is something called data interpreter, right? This is basically a very silly tool. Sometimes it works, but then personally, I don't like using it. Data interpreter, see, in their own explanation, they have said that it might be able to clean your Excel data. That doesn't sound very assuring, right? So the tool basically says that if you have some blank rows and all, it tries to clean it automatically. I don't like it. Most people that I know don't like it. So just ignore it, right? Okay. Then there is something called a union. Union is essentially like a combine from a folder, right? Like I showed you in Power BI that we can combine 3 or 4 files from folder. Union is like that. It's called an append, but Tableau for whatever reason causes the union. Then this is merge, right? Like when you have two different data sets, like yesterday we had category, name, discount that we wanted to merge together. You can also merge it here. And then on the top right corner, you also have a filter. A filter basically says that at the source level, once I have loaded my data and I have 51,000 records with me, if I would like to filter something, so if I would like to only see the data for, let's say, country and India, I'll be able to do that like this. So what it does is that out of the 165 countries that I have, it is only showing me India right now. That is why it says one filter has been applied. Very simple, right? But we don't need that right now. So I will delete it. The filter is here because it improves the speed of your Tableau workbook. So when you're working on Tableau, it becomes faster because you are not working on the entire data. You're working on a filtered data set, right? Is this like Power Query? Can you do things that you can do in Power Query? Not at all. The only options I have here, if you notice, are rename, copy values, hide the column, creating aliases. Aliases means you can give different names to the same column. I can create a calculation. I can do a split, which is a text to column basically, and I can describe it. That's it. You also have a pivot, and that's very interesting. What we did in Power BI yesterday, remember we did unpivoting? Unpivoting here is called a pivot. It's very confusing because it's actually not a pivot. It's an unpivot, but that's what they have called it. It's a pivot. But this is it. There are just these 8 to 10 options available. In Power Query, you have more than 500 options available. But if you want to do on Tableau, what we did on Power Query, what do? We use a different tool called Tableau Prep. So Tableau Prep came a few years back because Tableau realized that most organizations have not prepared their data. So usually what would happen is that the SQL team would have to first extract the data and transform it. And then it would be loaded into Tableau. So the non-SQL, non-IT user will never be able to do anything on their own because they always have to depend on the IT team to give them the data, right? That is why they realized that they want to create a tool for non-IT guys. And this tool is very similar to Power Query, as you can see. Just like Power Query, we have different steps. Here also you can have different steps. And you have this visual interface, right? Power Query is also going to get this visual interface. It is expected to come in the next few months, right? So it's going to be almost at par. Of course, feature-wise, some things are better, some things are worse than Power BI. I will not really get into details here. You can go and have a look at that. Right now, there are definitely a few things here that are much better than Power Query. But Power Query has overall much better integration with Microsoft products compared to Tableau. Right? But both are powerful in their own way. Okay, and with time they will even get more powerful than they are already right now. But natively within Tableau, there is not much that you can do. Right? It is very simple. We click on Sheet and we get our first interface. Everyone, I had already explained the interface to you. So we have column, row, pages, filter, marks. There are only 21 visuals because you can't download more, but you can. They're very flexible, right? So you can mix and match and customize the visuals in a way that you can't really do it in Power BI. So while Power BI has 300 visuals and Tableau only has 21, you can actually do much more, 100 times more on Tableau compared to Power BI. So from a visualization perspective, there is no match for Tableau. Okay, so we're going to create our first visual, which is a map, everyone. And maps natively are much better in Tableau than Power BI, even though Power BI also has more options in it. Tableau is right from the ground up. It's much easier to work with and much more flexible to work with. For the map, I will double click on my country and I will also double click on my sales value. Please do this, everyone. Double click on the country and then double click on the sales value. Just stop me wherever you have any issue. Right? So you notice that it automatically creates the map for you. And what is happening is, let me turn on my tool. You notice that the country has this symbol. That means the country is the detail, right? And the sales is the size, like this. These symbols allow you to understand what is happening. This is like formatting. The latitude and the longitude come automatically. You don't have to do that, right? So once again, what did I do? I simply double click on my country. It automatically creates the lat and the long. And then I double click on sales like this. But what if you want to color the entire boundary? You don't want to show these dots because the scale is too wide, right? Like a lot of these dots are so small that you can't even see them. So I will select on the right side, I will not select my recommended chart, which is my symbol map. I will select my map, but basic map like this.
So do we need to specify anything in the Excel, like while preparing for the data, like these are the country, or it will take automatically when we name the country, the data set?
No, you don't have to do anything special. Just to confirm that, so that you don't have any doubt. If you notice my Excel, there's nothing fancy going on here. It's a simple Excel file. I just have my city, state, country, region, and market. That's it. It's just a text data type.
Okay.
Sir, how this double click works? Because yesterday you were doing double click and it was showing some size and label, and today it is showing some details and sales.
We'll do that. Don't worry. What we did yesterday also I'll be covering in the next example. Right? Yesterday was just your first look at Tableau, but consider this as your proper training, right? Okay. Now you notice that I have all the country, very simple to understand. And you will also notice there is a small plus sign that comes in country. And you can guess what it will do. When you click on the plus sign, it will show you all the states. Very cool, right? And if you click on this search button, you can also search for a particular country, let's say India, and it zooms into India like this. But if you go from the state to the city, in that case, you will not see the boundary. You will only see the dot like this. Okay. So remember, your original map will not work at a city level. It will only work till a state or a province level like this. Right? Exact addresses are not supposed to be put here. There are ways in which you can do that, but typically we don't expect it to work like that. You search for a city or a state. Also, if you notice, there are different ways of selecting the map, right? So you have a pan. So the pan allows you to select and move it left and right. Then I have different tools like a rectangular selection that allows me to select an area like this, right? Then I have a lasso selection that allows me to select in any specific shape that I want. And then I also have a radial selection, which allows me to select like this. Okay? like an earthquake with an epicenter, like that. So this is very handy. So like in retail, when we say that we have a distributor, right, in this area, and we want to say that, okay, but that distributor will cover a 50-kilometer radius, right? What does that mean? So I can just do my radius selection, right? We can say that if I'm appointing a distributor in this area, if I select a 50-kilometer radius, it will be servicing this region, like that. To go back, you can just click on the reset map button and it goes back like this. Let me come back to my country level. Any questions so far?
There is some color differences. So on which basis?
Yeah. So look at this. Sales is determining the color. What that means is if I remove sales, right? If I simply remove it, what will happen is it will not show me the color. So if I make it into a normal map, it gives me the same color for every country because I have not really defined on what basis the color should be extracted, right? So if I keep my profit, for example, what will happen? It will put a different set of colors. So you notice that these orange ones are negative. So the range is from orange to blue. You can see the range here, everyone, from minus 98,000 to 2.86 lakhs, right? Like this. Okay, can somebody tell me what will happen if I keep the country in the color? Anyone?
There will be different color for each country.
Exactly. Because I have 165 countries with me, when I put the country in the color, it is literally going to create one unique color for every country that is there. So I hope you understand how flexible Tableau is. But you know what the catch is? In the beginning, when an instructor like me is telling you, okay, do this, do that, it all seems very nice, right? Very colorful, very nice. But the problem is that in Power BI, you can't make a lot of mistakes because you're limited by the options that have been given to you. In Tableau, you can do whatever you want. It won't stop you, but it might do something completely stupid. For example, if I keep my country in the color, I'm getting all these colors. What if I keep my state in the color? I mean, that doesn't even make any sense, right? Like, how can I keep the state in the color? So it doesn't stop me from doing it, right? You notice that it still does it, right? Like this. But that might not be what I want really, because I don't want to do it. So even though it's not recommended, it is still allowing you to do something like that. So just to explain that once again, if I keep the segment, remember we have 3 segments with us. If I keep the segment in the color, it's very confusing because you notice that it is only showing me home office, consumer. But why is it not showing me the 3 segments? Because each country will have 3 segments, no? So why is it only showing me 1? It's very hard to explain all that. So the point is that it doesn't stop you from doing something. For example, if I keep the ship date in the color, I can do that too. It won't stop me. But it will not really work the way it is supposed to work, right? So that's the good and the bad of Tableau. A lot of flexibility, but that comes at the expense of, having to learn how it works, because it won't hold you in a straight line saying that, no, don't do this, don't do that. It will allow you to do everything and anything you want, but the result might not be what you expect it to be. Okay, so I'm going to keep my market in my color because remember we have 5 markets with us, so it gives us 5 colors. If I keep my region, what happens? There are 23 regions that I have, so it is giving me 23 colors right now, which makes sense, right? So I have Canada, the Caribbean, Central Africa, Central America. Please do this, everyone. Keep the market, keep the region in the color, everyone. So just drag the region in color. It will ask you that it recommends, Tableau recommends that you should limit it to 20. You should never have more than that. But then because we have 23 regions with us, it is asking you, what do you want? Do you still want to show 23? So I will say, yes, I want to show all the members. So I want to show all the 23 regions, and it makes 23 colors for us like this. Okay. Once we have done this, we can also make some other changes. For example, I want to show my sales value. So I will select my sales value. And can anybody tell me where should we drag it out of these 5 options? My sales value.
Your label.
Okay. So if I put the sales in label, then it gives me a label like this. All right. But if I keep the sales in my tooltip, what will happen? It doesn't come on top of the chart, but when I take my mouse, it will show me the number. So remember, we did tooltips in Power BI as well. And I showed you that you can keep as many values in the tooltip as you want. Where we did transaction, unique customers and all. So if I keep my profit in the label, if I keep my quantity in the label, you notice that, I'm sorry, in the tooltip, profit in the tooltip and my quantity in the tooltip, you notice that now it gives me 3 values. So just like you have a black tooltip in Power BI, here you have a white tooltip like this.
Sir, what if we put the sales in size in this map?
If you put the sales in size, then it will not be a colored map. It will not color the boundary. If you put the sales in size, then it will become a symbol map. If the sales is in the size, then you will not make your regular map. You will be expected to make, just a minute. So you have your regular map, but I will make my normal map right now. But this region will have to be removed from the color in that case. Because you can't have, see, again, that's the problem, right? You asked me a question. You said, can I put the sales in size? And I did that. I put my sales in size. Has it given me an error? No. But is it working the way I expected it to work? No. That is the problem. Now you have to figure out, but why is it that it is not showing me the sales? Think about it. The problem is that if you want to show a size, then you have to choose your normal map or your symbol map, not your normal map. But if you choose the symbol map, something very funny is happening. It is putting the region in the rows because the region cannot be in the color, right? If you keep a sales as the size, then the color has no significance because the sales will determine that. So I will remove the region from here. Now it makes sense. So I have my sales like now. Now if I put the region back in the color, now you notice I'm getting different colors as well. See, it is very nice to work with when you see the final output, but you can see that when you get your hands dirty with it, many times something funny will happen. It will not work the way you expect it to work. There are no shortcuts to this. I can't give you a checklist. This is a journey that all of us have to go through. You have to practice and practice and practice, right? The more you practice, the better you will understand how to make it work. I'm also increasing the size here, everyone, so that you can see it properly.
Sir, if I want to determine the size of the region or say country on the basis of number of sales, then how can I do it?
But it is doing that only, no?
Like say India has a maximum level of sales, so it maximizes the size of India.
Okay, why is India larger right now? Because India is doing 5,89,000, right? If you look at the US, it's doing 6.78. France is the highest at 8.58. That's why the circle is bigger, no?
But it is showing the dots or circles. I want to increase the area of the map, say Indian boundaries. It will enlarge the Indian region completely, not dots.
I'm not able to follow. What do you mean when you say enlarge the Indian boundary?
Like increase the map size of India.
How can you increase the map size of India? I don't follow. Try to explain it in a different way.
Actually, yeah.
You are asking me how to, you're speaking like a politician. Now I want to increase the maps, the boundary of India. What does that mean?
Instead
sorry,
of yeah.
I can just interrupt Shiv. Sorry, I think he means the area of India should become larger as compared to, let's say, Pakistan, which has a smaller. So
I'm really confused.
I don't think it's possible.
No, it's not a question of whether it's possible or not. I'm not able to follow. This is the boundary, right? How can I change that?
You can't change that because longitude and latitude are generated. So it's
correct.
not possible.
I mean, like, see, okay, hold on. Right now, if I remove the sales from the size, what happens? There are 165 countries. Each of them have a circle, and the circle is the same size, obviously, because I have defined the color should come from the region, but I have not told Tableau on what basis the circle size should be represented. Fair enough. The moment I put my sales in the size, then it understands that, okay, if the sales is larger, then the circle size should be bigger. If the sales is smaller, then the circle size should be smaller. For example, Russia here is only 82,000, so the circle size is smaller, like that.
Sir, what if we put the region in size?
If you put the region in size, but the region is a text value, right? Think about it. How can I determine size as per a text value? Can I, region in size will not really make any sense.
Okay, sir.
Do you understand what I'm saying? When I say that, okay, sales is 1,000, sales is 500, I know that 1,000 is bigger than 500. But when I say that, South Asia is here, and then I have Central US here, what tells me that one should be bigger and one should be smaller? Because through Tableau,
Sales.
Central US and South Asia is the same thing, right?
Okay, sir, got it.
Right? Maybe later try to frame your question in a different way once you practice this. I'm not really able to follow. See, you have to, I'll tell you, as a consultant, whenever this happens all the time, right? The client is trying to explain something to me, I don't follow. Maybe it's my inability, whatever it is, but I tell them two things. Number one, try to explain to me in a different manner. Just take a completely different way. Number two, tell me what is the expected output. Don't tell me how I should do it. Tell me what is the output you would like to see, right? Don't tell me why you want it. Don't tell me how I should do it. Just tell me that, okay, I would like to see my final result in this way. So just draw it on a piece of paper and say, this is what I want to see. Then it is for me to figure out if it is possible or not. And if it is possible, what is the way to do it, right? Okay, so we have our color in the region. We have our sales in the size. I would also like to have a boundary, like a color on my circle. So I will select my color and we can add a border here, right? Like this. So it's easier to read, right? And we can also increase the size a little bit. And in my color, I'm also going to increase the transparency, right? Like this. So it becomes a little translucent, making it easier for us to understand the data, even when it is overlapped.
Sir, I don't think I'm getting the same visualization.
Make sure that all of these things are matching.
Yeah, those are matching, sir.
Okay, share your screen. Let's see. Yeah,
should I go for this one?
No. Yeah. So if you notice, no, hold on. Look, that is a packed bubble. That is not a map. What you have done here is you have selected, look at the second row in the visual, look at the fourth one in the visuals, in the visual on the right side, under the show me button, correct. There are two maps, right? This is the map, the one on the right, the one on the left is a symbol map. Please click on that, the one on the left. Right, hold on. Now, no, press Ctrl Z, don't be in a hurry, press Ctrl Z. Okay, now what is happening is that it put your region in the rows. So it is creating 23 maps for you. We don't want that. So you can select your region and drag it into the color on the left. Just select the region and drag it into the color. Correct. Giving you what you want. The only thing is that the colors are coming, the size is not coming. Now put the sales in the size. Select the sales and put it in the size. Right. Perfect. Now you can click on size and increase the size, put a border and increase the transparency in the color. So click on the size, just drag it, make it larger. Don't make it too large, but make it a little larger. Choose whatever you want. And now go to color and add a border, any color, right? And then in the opacity, decrease the opacity. Perfect. That's it. You can increase the size even further if you want. So on the size, you can increase it even further. A little more, make it larger. So the chart looks easy to read, right? That's it.
Right, sir. Thank you.
right, everyone? Okay. But the thing is that I would like to present the data with a filter so that the user can choose the market they want. Right now, all the 165 countries are coming together. But like we did in Power BI, remember, we want to have a slicer. We don't call it a slicer here, we call it a filter. So I'm going to select my market. There are 5 of them. And we will say show filter. What that will do is it will add a filter on the right side here. And you can see that I can select any market that I want. And it only shows me the regions and countries in that, like this. So we are right now at the country level, but if you click on the plus sign, you will go at the state level as well. Right? And interestingly, Power BI is a Microsoft product, but they don't have a full screen mode, right? You can't press F5 or any other button to go full screen, but Tableau gives you that option. So you have a presentation mode here. The shortcut is not F5, it is F7, right? And it goes into full screen mode. And it's so odd, right? That Microsoft hasn't given this feature, but Tableau has given it the feature. But that's just the way it is.
So can't we drag the screen here and there?
Drag what?
Sir, drag the map or a screen, like after zooming in.
You have to click on this pan button.
Achha, yeah.
Right? You have to press the letter F or click on this. That allows you to move it around. Right? By default, what happens is you are at a zoom. I'm sorry. By default, when you click, you are zooming in, zooming out. Right? But there are different options given in. You just press F to move it around.
Can we make it more dynamic, like not just showing the power symbols? Instead of that, wherever I'm reaching my mouse, it shows those information regarding that area.
When you say information regarding the area, be more specific.
Like right now it's showing, right? The country is united and region and profit and sales. So instead of showing the bubble, all these bubble at a time, wherever I am reaching my mouse, it shows this portion only.
I'm confused. So there is a bubble, and when you hover your mouse on the bubble, it shows it as white box. What would you like to show it as?
I don't want to see all the bubbles of different countries or state. I just want to be dynamic wherever I'm taking mouse at that point only of that region. The all details should be shown to me.
Right. In that case, let me duplicate the sheet. In that case, you select the other map, right? You have your normal map here like this. Hold on. So let me remove my market and the region is in color. So then you make 1 second. Then you make this one, right? So this will allow you to take your mouse, right? So that's a choice that you have. And the bubble is not a fixed shape. You can also change the shape if you want to. So I can go to my marks card and you notice that I have something called a shape here, right? This is a more advanced option. So in the marks card, I'm going to select the shape. And now I have a new option called shape. Please watch this, everyone. By default, you can't change the shape, but if you click on the marks card and select the shape, you can change the shape as well. So I can choose any shape I want. I can even add more shapes of my own, right, to make the map look a little different, and depends on how you want to present your data. You can even import your own shapes from your system. Let me increase the opacity a little bit, like this. This is how you create infographics, right? Please try this, everyone.
Yeah, actually, I am not able to just drag it in the map while selecting.
Not able to do what?
And drag in the map, like move from.
You first have to click on this pan button.
Okay.
Right?
I do.
Once you do that, you will then be able to move it wherever you want.
After clicking, I am not getting those symbols like this cross.
On this one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Share your screen. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, I am not really sure what's happening. Hold on. You're getting it, no? Oh, you have kept the market in the rows. Don't do that, please. Please remove that. In the rows. Yeah, please remove that from the rows. Correct. Is it working? I'm sorry, you don't have to double click on it. You just have to click and drag it.
Like I already selected it, but I'm not getting that symbol, like the cross symbol.
I don't follow. What cross symbol are you referring to?
Like this one. This.
Just click on it. Yeah, just click on that, right?
Yeah.
Now just click on the map and move it left and right. Don't double click. Single click.
It is not.
I'm taking control of your screen. Wait. Just accept my request. Okay.
Yeah, approve.
So I'm selecting the pan, right? And then I'm just moving it. See, it's working. I'll do it once again. So in your market, I'm going to select all, right? So I can see everything right now. And let me go to my country level, right? And let me also keep my region in my color. Add all members, right? Once I've done that,
if you can, yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, I have done that in this map.
Oh, you've done it in the other one. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So let me undo it. Hold on. No problem. So let me go back to where you were. Right. So we are at this point where we have all the markets and all the regions being shown. So you just have to click on the pan. The symbol will not come. The symbol will only come when you move it. So when you move it, only then the symbol will come. Okay. Just try it once. It is selected. It is already selected. You have to click and move it. Just click one time and move it.
On the map only.
On the map. On the map. But you're not clicking on the map. You have to click
like
on
here.
The map. No, anywhere on the map. Just click on any area on the map, single click, hold the click and move it.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Yes. Thank you.
Great. Anything else? Anyone? Any other question?
Yes,
Do you
sir.
see already how much depth there is, like compared to Power BI, which is great, but then you don't really have that level of depth in it, right? Look at Tableau. We are on one visual, and it is endless. We can keep on doing more and more things with it.
is it possible to make that categories, I mean, region with a category also? Like it's showing a similar kind of symbol for everywhere. But I want for Africa or for any country, as per the subcategories, it showed different symbol for different categories.
No, no, but every country will have all the three categories in it. It's not that one country is only selling one. See, right now, the symbol is here like this, but then think of it this way. Right now, my shape is coming as per what? This is as per the sales value, right? That's why some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, right? So
Okay,
how can you really
yes,
choose
I
that?
got
So
it.
if I
I
can only
got it.
change the size here, right? It will be the same symbol. Let me try to explain it in a different way. Hold on. Okay, don't need to do it. Just watch. I'm sure you will understand. I'm double clicking on country. I will select my sales, everyone. No, I will not select my sales. Let me select my profit. Fair enough. So I am first going to put my shape here. Okay, watch carefully. I'm going to select my profit and put it in the shape. Now think what is happening. It is creating clearly different symbols for me. But why? Now when you click on the shape, you notice that every unique point that is there, it is creating, I mean, it's not creating different symbols, but it's repeating the same set of different symbols right now. Does it make sense? So if I put my profit in my shape, it is creating different symbols for me. But ideally, what would I like? I would want that profit should be an up arrow and something else should be a down arrow, correct? So I will go to analysis and I will create a calculated field. Right? In the calculation, I will say PL, which is for my profit loss symbol. And I will say here that if my sum of profit is greater than 0, then I want to have any letter. So I will just say loss, right? Else I will have profit. And I will say end. If you look carefully, there are quite a few interesting things that are happening here. Not an end if, only an end. There is no equal to sign. In Tableau, when you write formulas, you're not supposed to write an equal to sign. If you write an equal to sign, the formula will not work. Also, there are no commas here. You just write if, then, end. So you can write everything in one line without putting any commas here. Commas are not used here. And the syntax is very different to the way we write it in Excel. It's more like programming, where you're writing if, then, else, end, and you also have else if and all. Right? Tableau uses a functional language, which is very different. It is not like anything else on the market. So if you try to compare it and say, is it like Excel? Is it like JavaScript? It's like nothing else. It's its own thing, right? It's very different because there's no equal to sign here. Anyway, right now what we have done is we have said
Sorry
that.
to interrupt you, but you have written sum of profit more than 0, then it will be loss.
Sure. So let me change that. So if it is profit, otherwise it's
I'm
loss. So there are two
confused.
results that I will get, right? So when I click on OK, if all of you can see this, there is a new field that has been created called this one, PL symbol. Now the PL symbol can only have two results in it, either profit or loss. So when I put the PL symbol in shape, do you see what is happening? It is giving me two symbols, two shapes. So for my loss, I'm going to keep a down arrow. For my profit, I'm going to keep an up arrow. Apply, okay. And that's it. That's what we wanted, right? So you notice that I'll put my PS symbol in my color as well. I'll change the color. So I will say that my loss should be red. My profit should be green. This is such a clean, simple way of presenting the data that you want. Right? I'm also choosing a market filter. So that it's right now it's very cluttered because you have too many things happening. But let's just look at one market. Let's say Africa. So in Africa, you can see loss and profit. We're not really concerned about the extent, the degree of profit and loss. We just want to see the profit and loss. Right? You can try this if you want, everyone.
Sir, sorry, I just dropped off. Where you have written those formula in which analysis section?
Analysis, calculated field. Okay. And the formula that I've written is this.
Okay.
All of these things are explained in my Tableau course, so don't worry. It has been explained in detail. Right, so we wrote the formula. I just copied it on the chat window. And once we have done that, the PS symbol is coming in two places. It is coming in the shape and it is coming in the color aspect, right? Like this. You can put the profit in the size also, so that the size is also relative to the amount, right? Like this. Let me see if there are any other interesting shapes available. Like I said, you can obviously install your own shapes, but for now, I'm just choosing the ones that are already there. So my loss, I want it to be like this. Profit, I would like it to be like this. Like this. Just see how nice this looks. So that's my point. Tableau is, this is the double-edged thing, no? Very flexible, but difficult to work with. And you can also keep different segments in the filter. So if I keep different segment in the filter, I can choose different segments to see how the result changes. So like this is consumer, this is corporate, this is home office, like that.
Where you have put in the formula bar, like the profit symbol one, in the which section?
Where do we write the formula?
No, no, like where you have from the left column, where you have in the shape. Yeah. In the shapes.
So these are two separate things. One is that my work is 95% in Power BI. Also, when I tell you that for most of you, Power BI, when I say most, I mean 80-90% of you, Power BI is the tool of choice. Don't feel that, oh, Havish is saying that Power BI is more important, because he actually doesn't do a lot of work in that area in Tableau. I agree that I should actually do a lot of work in Tableau, because somehow my clients all work on Power BI, right? And you've seen the wide assortment of clients that I have. One big client that I had, Cbit, which is the world's largest software company for the event sector. They were working on Tableau, but they have also now stopped working on it. They are also migrating towards Power BI now. So, so again, I'm just giving you honest advice. It's not because I have a preference or anything. As I already shared with you, I pay a lot of money on Tableau. And this year, I'm really considering not renewing my license, because I don't really see any work coming in this area, right? But sure, it's a wonderful tool, but that doesn't mean that you should learn it, right? Try to understand. People say, but it is so cool. It's so flexible and so fluid and looks so brilliant. I completely agree with you. But if you're not going to use it in the corporate, then why are you learning it? If you say, but Havish, it's so nice, should I not learn it just because it's so nice? Then why don't you learn D3JS also? D3JS is, is data-driven documents. It's on JavaScript. And the sort of examples I will show you on D3JS is something you will never be able to do on Tableau and Power BI. Just look at the number of options that are available to you. It's fantastic, right? And this is customizable even more than what you have on Tableau. The point that I'm trying to get across to everyone is that Tableau is a fantastic tool. It looks brilliant, but that cannot be the reason that you are learning it, because it's so nice and interesting. You should learn what you need to learn, right? From a corporate viewpoint, from a job viewpoint. You should not learn it just because it's exciting. Why does it happen that Tableau is taught more at colleges than Power BI? It's very hard to explain that, because in most colleges, R is taught over Python. And you speak to anybody in the corporate and they will tell you that for every one job profile that is there in R, there are 99 of them in Python. But people still learn R. Why? Because colleges teach R. What is the reason behind it? Because faculties work on R and they don't work on Python. They are the ones who create the curriculum, and they end up putting R and not Python. Not because the R is better and it's better suited to you and the type of jobs you will apply to, but because that is what they're comfortable with. They're not comfortable with Python. I am on the board of a few colleges, not big ones, mid-tier colleges, like, rank 200 to 400, like that. And, I'm on the board that decides the curriculum and all. Every year we have a meeting. I tell them, please include Python. And they don't do it. I've been doing it for 3-4 years now. They just refuse to do it, because there is so much backlash that comes from the faculties. And no, we should do R. Why the hell should you be working on R? Does a job profile that comes to the college say that you need to know R? You tell me. Speak to your alumni and ask them how many jobs came requiring R and how many jobs require Python as an added skill. And you will get the answer, right? So there are many reasons for it. Even at big colleges and premier colleges, curriculum is not in line with what is asked for in the corporate, but that's okay. That doesn't mean that you will keep on complaining. You have to figure out alternative ways of learning, like you're doing right now. You're learning Power BI and Excel. So just make sure that if you want to work on Tableau, the learning will never go to waste. Let me assure you of that. Anything you learn will never go to waste, but then it might not really have an immediate direct impact on your career, right? Purely because you're not going to end up working on these things. Right. So good. I think we've done one example, but we have covered quite a lot of depth in it. So I've told you filters, we have done the different types of marks. We have seen how much flexibility is there in the chart as well. Other than this, you have the same chart, tree map, right? Column chart, bar chart, pie chart, table, line chart, area chart, right? More or less the same thing that you have on Power BI as well. But the interface, all of you are comfortable with. And we also wrote one calculation, which is an analysis calculated field. So now you have a sense of how calculations work as well. Even Tableau can be connected to both R and Python. So a lot of people say that, is that a differentiating factor between Power BI and Tableau, that Power BI has R and Python in it? Tableau also has R and Python in it, but not in the free version, not in Tableau Public. But if you're working on, but if you're working on the proper version of Tableau, you will notice that I have something called analytics extension. Okay, this button, manage analytics extension. And here you notice that I have both R and Tableau connectivity. Right? So that is not a differentiating factor. I can run R in Python and I can show the visual on both Power BI and on Tableau. Right? So yeah, that covers Tableau. I just give you my last few tips on PowerPoint because I expect you to appear for a lot of competitions, and of course you have to create your own projects and submissions. So I'll give you my best tips on PowerPoint afterwards. Any questions?
Sorry. So I just want to know how you had changed the shapes like to upward and downward. Because I tried doing it.
I clicked on shapes and I selected different shapes from here.
And how to change the color and all?
I put it in the color. I put my PS symbol in the color also. See.
That I did.
Right now I don't have different colors, so I just put my PS. Actually, here you don't need color, no, because the shape that I selected already has the color in it. So the palette I've chosen, if you notice, I'm choosing my, one second, my KPI. In my KPI, I have already this green colored tick and this already there.
Okay.
And you, like I said, you can also choose your own palette. So you can just Google it, Tableau custom palette, right? And it will tell you, not a color palette, icon palette. And it will tell you how to put your own custom shades in Tableau. Basically, you just have to download it and install it in a specific folder on your computer. Look at this. Somebody has created 2000 plus Tableau icons. Right? So basically, there's a folder, documents, Tableau repository shapes. You just have to put that folder with all the icons in that folder, and it will show you those icons as well. So you can basically use any icon that you want, like something like this, you can create.
And also, while I did my color for the arrow one, should I change the color? How should I change it? It is coming in the orange and blue. So should I?
You can just click on the color and you can click on edit color. You must be getting an option.
Sir, how can we share this file through your link so that other can also see that?
Right. So after you have worked on Tableau Public, you can't save it on your computer. You only have an option to save it to Tableau Public, right? So let me do the same thing. I'll click on Tableau Public. If you don't have an account, you will have to create one. I am also not sure what is the account I have. Is that working? Oh, it's working. Perfect. So once I have signed in, let me call this IMI October. It publishes my report there. And you can see that this is my Tableau public account. That's it, just share the link. Just click on share and share this link with anybody you want.
In case of Tableau desktop, like we have a student license for it.
In case of Tableau desktop, you can, in that case, you can save it like a TBWX file, but the person to whom you're sharing that file also needs to have Tableau on their system. Otherwise, you do the same thing. You put it on your Tableau account on the cloud. From here, you can share it.
We can't save it as a link as we are doing in public. Can't do it in same in desktop? Can share the link to others instead of sharing the file?
I'm actually not sure because I don't do any sharing on Tableau. I do very little work on Tableau, but let me check once. Okay, so let me just create a simple report first. What did I do? I'm sorry, just a moment. Wait. Sorry, just let me reopen it. You guys, right? You guys don't have a session after this, right? Or do you?
No, sir, we don't have a session.
You don't know? So we can extend by 15, 20 minutes. All right, thanks. So I'm just creating a simple chart. It doesn't matter what the chart is. See, on Tableau, the complete version of Tableau, you notice there are many more options. Things like save as is there, right? Export to PowerPoint is there. This is not there in Tableau Public. So I will click on save as. Save as will allow me to save it as a TWB or a TWBX file, right? Which is like a PBIX file on Power BI. If you want to save it on the cloud, I'm actually not sure how you do that. Hold on. Share. An error occurred, blah, blah. Okay, not important. So let me just save it on my desktop first. Save it on my desktop as a TWBX file. Let's just call it temp. And then when I click on share, I'm sorry, there's some error coming. External database connection. Okay,
Sir, it is there under the
data.
It is there in the under the server.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think maybe you guys should try this on your own. Honestly, I don't have an answer because I don't do it. So I will also have to.
Sir, I got it under server and Tableau Public. So below Tableau Public. Yeah, and save to Tableau Public.
No, that is there. But I was thinking, is there some other saving option? I don't know, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it on the website as to how that works. This part, unfortunately, I'll not be able to.
One last thing, like in the map, I'm getting some of the unknowns. So how to deal with that?
That will happen. I mean, there are many reasons where certain names cannot be read properly if the tagging or the mapping is not done. Like in my data, we don't have the lat and long given to us, right? That's why you expect some unknowns to be there. But if you have the lat and long data with you, which an organization will typically have, then that problem will not come.
Okay.
So, for example, I remember I was working on a map and we had Salem, right? Now, Salem is in Tamil Nadu, but Salem is also there in some other place. I don't know where it was. It was coming in United States, if I remember correctly, Massachusetts, right? So it was actually, we had everything in India and then suddenly there was a dot coming in the US and we were like, what is happening? So then we realized that because we did not keep a lat and long in it, it was plotting that other city. So ideally, lat and long should be there. Right? All right. Cool. See, I know there are many questions and there should be questions. That's a good thing. A lot of these questions will get answered after you have done the course that I have given to you. So there are two courses we have on Tableau. See, the Power BI course I updated very recently. So this is a 4-hour course on Power BI, which is really good, right? I'm very happy with the way the course has come out. To be very honest with you, the Tableau course I did last year is not bad. It's a good course and it covers all the basics. But, you know, I really want to redo it because there are many things that I want to update in it. I haven't done that, but it's up to date. It's not that it's very old or it doesn't cover everything. Everything is there. On a personal level, it's something that I have been wanting to update for a while. But then for now, you can very confidently do this 3-hour course. It will teach you everything you need to know to get started with Tableau. I also have another 3-hour course of something called level of detail expressions, right? Think of this like DAX. You know, like you have DAX in Power BI, we have something called level of detail expressions in Tableau. This is how you write complex formulas, right? So the sort of things that you're doing in DAX, you can't actually do the same thing in Tableau. But then anything more advanced that you want to do, this is what we use. We call them LOD, level of detail expression. This is also a 3-hour course, but don't do it before you have done the basics. This is an independent course. For most of you, I don't think you need to do it because unless you're going to work on Tableau, it doesn't make sense to go so in-depth into Tableau. Yeah, you're never going to need it, right? But if you feel that you might use Tableau in the company that you're going to work with, then it's a good course. I'm very happy with the way this course has come out. There are about 15 examples I've taken and all very good examples.
For Power BI, there is one course in which everything is covered, Power BI bundle.
Power BI, there are actually 4 courses I have on Power BI. So there is a 4-hour course on basics, how to install, what is Power BI, charts, all the things that we covered in the last couple of days. Then I have a 3-hour course completely covering DAX, only formulas, right? I have a 3-hour course only on Power Query, no visualization. And then this is a recent course, Power BI for Finance. In this, I've taken a finance data set and I've explained how to create financial visualization. I'll just show you what all has been covered in this. You have been given access to everything. This is my Power BI finance course. I'll just show you what all has been covered here. So I've taken a financial ratios data set. So I've covered P ratio, ESG ranking here. Then I've covered comparison of different sectors, some more special line charts and area charts, combo charts. So I have my ROE and my amount here. Then we have already done the ribbon, right? Waterfall. Then I've done the scatter chart. Like here, I'm looking at different companies across different sectors. Then I've done some cluster mapping, which is K-means clustering, a little bit of machine learning. Then small multiples. Then I've done tables, matrices, right? This we already did, the tooltip. Then I've covered a lot of DAX, right? So I've explained to you how, like, what we did in Power Query was very simple, but this is more advanced Power Query, what has been explained here. So like here, I'm telling you how to create a measure that will tell you the difference between the two types of investment that you have, bad and good investment, like this. These are just certain screenshots, like I've told you how to create your own icons and all. There are many other things. This is a Pareto chart that has been explained in the course. Like these are the type of formulas that I've explained in the Power BI for Finance course. Power BI for Finance is quite complex, so you should really take some time, first get the basics right, and then do it. If you do it right now, a lot of it will go over your head, and there's no point, right? It's good to go systematically. First do Power BI, practice it for a few months, and then do it. There's no hurry. Remember, I spent 2 years on Power BI before I even touched DAX because I wanted to get my foundations right, and I'm happy I took that call. Great. If you have any questions, we'll discuss that. Don't worry. Let me quickly show you on PowerPoint what are my most important tips for all of you. Number one, if you want to see ready-made templates available, you can go to my website and then you go to free stuff, free downloads. And there is a B-School competition archive, okay? So I judge a lot of B-School competitions, right? And what I have done is I have compiled, if you notice, I have compiled from different colleges. So I have IIT Delhi, Simsri, Kashipur, Nagpur, IIT Bombay. Like this, I have compiled different presentations, not created by me, created by students. I had only given the problem statement. Let me open one of them for you. Let me open any one. It doesn't matter which one. Let's say SAMHRD. So you can see there are different presentations that have been given here. Let me open one of them. So let's go to the Musketeers. So you can see the presentation that they worked on. So I had given them a data set and they have used some machine learning here to come up with the answer. And these are all the entries. So these are like the top 10, 15 entries that came in. So this is a great way for you to see what is it that other students are preparing, typically from final year, right? So IIT Kharagpur guys usually do a good job. Right? Like this, there are different competitions and the presentations have been given and the case studies have also been given. So if you open any one of them, you can see what case study I had given to them. Like at IIT Kanpur, I had given them a data set and I told them that you have to do an RFM analysis, recency, frequency, monetary analysis, customer loyalty and retention, some business cuts and seasonality factor. So this is the case study I had given to them. So you can try to do this on your own. And then I have also given you the solutions here. So you can see IIT Kanpur, which I can't seem to find. I don't know why. Oh, IIT Kanpur, actually, I did not get the case studies. I was only able to evaluate it. That's okay. You can see this is one of the winning entries. Dunder Refrenites. They did a really good job. Right. So this is one thing I would like all of you to go to. It's on my website, free downloads. The second thing I would like you to do is to go to UExec. I hope all of you are noting these down. YOUEXEC, everyone. UExec.com. UExec has some of the best quality presentations you will ever find on the internet, right? So you can see that there are 146 presentations on anything and everything, right? So let me open one of them. Let me open something related to product management, okay? Just look at the quality of the presentation. With the free account, you can only download 1/3 of the presentation. So there are 21 slides, but with the free account, you can only download 6 of them. That's okay, doesn't matter. So let me download it. Look at the quality of this presentation. It's probably the best quality you will ever see. I have not seen this quality even used in organizations, right? And this is not just random text. If you notice, they have experts who design presentations in consultation with experts in that area, right? So whatever has been given here, right, it's all relevant to the topic we are talking about, right? So I don't know how many of you know this. We have something called the Moscow prioritization, right? So we have called must have, should have, could have, and won't have. Okay. So when we are working on projects, we always do Moscow because we want to talk about what is really important, which you absolutely need to have, the ideal scenario, what is the secondary objective, and what you do not need to have. Very cool, right? Okay, so this is UEXEC, YOUEXEC, right? It hasn't really been created for B school students, but you should definitely have a look at this. The next thing I want to show you is the ability to deconstruct any existing report. I think I already mentioned this once. So let's say you go to BCG and you say, I want to report on the automotive sector, PDF. Let me open one of them. You can see that there is an entire presentation in a PDF format that has been given to you. What more do you need? Why would you not want to learn from the best? Why would you go to shitty, crappy websites on the internet when you have one of the big 3 firms in the world that are explaining to you how you should make your visualization? The next part of the challenge is, okay, now you know that, oh, this is very cool. I want to make something like this. But how do I? Like, how will I make something like this? That is the part which you can only understand from a PowerPoint training. A lot of it has been covered in my course, right? So if you look at my PowerPoint course, everyone, one is the Essentials course, which is a 3-hour course covering all the basics. And the other is again a 3-hour course talking about, or maybe a 2-hour course, talking about how to create consulting presentations, right? So I've told you how to create slides that you would typically see at one of the big consulting firms, professional services firms. You already have access to these courses, right? This is how you search for a report. If you would like to convert this PDF into a PPT, you can simply download it. And you can go to a website called smallpdf.com. Smallpdf.com. Simply go to PDF to PPT, upload your PowerPoint, upload your PDF, which is M. It will take about 5 to 20 seconds. And once you have done that, you can download it and it gives you a editable PowerPoint. How cool is that? Please watch. Everything you see here, everyone, is editable now. How cool is that? Every single element is editable. Amazing, right? Imagine how much time this can save you when you're making your own. This is like literally you have access to what BCG has created. Right? Okay.
You have made our life so easy from now.
Yeah. It doesn't completely eliminate the need to work, because right now it seems very nice, but then you later realize, no, you know what? This is not exactly what I wanted. I want to make the 10% tweak or that change. But even to do that, you need to learn a lot of PowerPoint. Without learning PowerPoint well, you will not be able to do it, right? Animations, transitions, all has been covered in my course, so I'm not going to do that now. Other than this, what websites can I give you? Canva, all of you already know, so I'll not get into detail. Canva is the website for everything related to design. So anything you need certificate, logo, brochure, report, everything and anything is available here. Right? So anything you want, you can find it on Canva. So if you want a presentation, you will find it on Canva. You want videos, that will also be available on Canva. Right? You can even download them as presentations. So after you have like 2,700 templates available, which is fantastic. Other than this, I will tell you another website, which is evernote.design. Evernote.design is a collection of about, I don't know, 200-300 websites on everything related to design, right? So anything and everything you need, right from audio, video, images, icons, everything you will find here, right? It's just a curation, right? Evernote.design is just a collection of different websites. It's just bookmarks, right? So for example, if you want stuff related to illustrations, you can find that here. So see, a lot of people say, Havish, is this all you do? You just tell us the right websites? But of course not. I also create presentations. But the point is that even to know the right websites is a skill, because there's so much content out there. Everybody says, but I can also find it. It's available for free. I can also Google it. No, it doesn't work like that. You can't just go on Google and say free icons. You will not come across all the websites that you want. You need to know them by heart. You need to know which website is good at this, at that. So I know that an icons 8 is fantastic for certain things, not for everything, right? But if you say, I want the icon created, not just the icon, I want illustrations created by the same person where I can change the color. Then you go to a website called Undraw, right? You would never come across this website otherwise, right? In Undraw, you have this beautiful option. You have these hundreds of illustrations available. And the best part is you can even change the color. So like my brand color is 2577CE, right? And I have icons available. How cool is that? And you even have a search option. So if you want to search something related to work, right? You have all these icons. And you know that now everything is about minimalistic design, right? So if you look at LinkedIn or Microsoft, look at the type of icons these guys are using. Look at this. Why does everybody now have these not realistic looking images? They don't have cartoonish images. They have something in the middle, right? So these are minimalist images that are being used. That's the trend, right, nowadays. So simple colors, right? Very soft palette of colors, not very bold. And you have illustrations like this. Everybody uses that. So even if you look at Microsoft, Microsoft is also doing the same thing. So across a lot of their marketing material, you notice this is what they do. So there's a lot to learn from the world around you, right? So I already told you can look at the color for the palette for any brand, right? So if you say palette KPMG, you see what palette KPMG is using. Read their reports, try to understand what colors go well with each other. There's a website called color.adobe.com. Color.adobe teaches you how color harmony works. So how colors are contrasting, right? All of that. So when I say monochromatic, I can see different shades of the same color here. When I say complementary, I can see opposite colors, right? Like this. So I know that a blue and a brown are opposite of each other, like that. So there isn't one website. Like I can give you 100 websites right now, which, I mean, I don't even have to refer to my notes. Okay, it's on my mind. That is what you have to do. You have to read and read and read and read and read. And then you have to read some more. It just boils down to that. There are no shortcuts to this, right? So yeah, any questions, anyone? I hope that helped. The biggest tip is to read other reports. When you read other reports, that will automatically teach you a lot. So I love Accenture reports, right? So let's say Accenture Telecom PDF. Accenture is now not just it's not a consulting firm only, you know. Accenture has a digital marketing arm. It has an advertising arm. So because they have these other verticals to their business, their reports are stunning, right? Absolutely fantastic. Lot to learn from this. Now you might say, but Havish, this is great, but how do I create something like this? Like I love the way these colors are blending into each other, right? But I want to create this. See, this, there is no shortcut. You have to undergo a PowerPoint training for this. If you say, I want to create this gradient effect that is coming, Right? I'll not do the exact thing, that will take some time, but I'll just give you an idea. If you want to create the same gradient here, I will just first remove my outline. I will right click, go to format shape. I will go to fill. I will select gradient and I will say that there are only two colors that I want. So my first color here is going to be this blue color. And my second color here is going to be something like this. Then you can, sort of make some additions and deletions. So if it take a little bit of time to get it right, but you understand where I'm headed with this, right? This is how you'll be able to try and get where you want to be. Okay. So I'm getting closer to where I want to be. So this is all quite tough. Like, people underestimate PowerPoint. PowerPoint, people say there are only so many options in it and how difficult can it be? There is a lot that you can do with PowerPoint, right? Just to give you an example, let's say I want an icon, right? So I go to iconfinder.com and I will download an icon from it right in front of me. This has been covered in my course as well. Something related to anything I want, let's say person, right? Free icon. Let me download one of these. So I will take this one, right? I'm going to download it as a scalable vector graph, not as a PNG. Why exactly are we doing that? Because a scalable vector graphic is what is used by designers. So this icon that you have here will never get blurred, right? You notice that no matter how much I zoom in, it will never lose its resolution. It just can't, because it's a scalable vector graphic, right? Now, once I have my first icon with me, just watch what I'm doing, all right? I'm going to ungroup it. So right click and ungroup a few times. Now this means that I can change, make modifications to it. So just watch very carefully. I have my icon, and what I will do is I will create a duplicate slide. On the next slide, I'm going to select and make two copies, 1 and 2. Now what happens? I'm sorry. Let me just make sure I'm done it on the second slide. So I'll just make 2 copies here, 1 and 2. Now in my animation, in my transitions, I can add a morph transition. What it does is it automatically adds an animation like this, right? But what if you want to do something else here? Okay. So let me do it one more time. So let me just undo it. I have my icon here. Okay, just watch. Very smartly, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a duplicate slide, and then I'm going to make more copies like I did earlier. And then it gives me this. But then I would also like to change the color. So I would like to make another duplicate slide, and I'll select 2 of them. And in this, I'm going to change the color here. So watch carefully. I'm just selecting my outer circle and changing the color to something else. You can change it later the way you want it. So the idea is that now it looks like, so we're able to create that effect that, okay, there's a change, 30%, 50%, like that. Also, if you want to use transitions on something else. So for example, let's say you have a map with you, right? And you want to use it on that. I'm only showing all this to you to tell you how much PowerPoint is capable of. Every single thing I'm doing right now can be is there in my course as well, right? So let me just take my map here. I'll show you something that hopefully none of you have seen earlier, right? I have a map here. I'm going to make a copy of my map, Control-C, Control-V. On the second copy, I will do a crop. So I will say crop to shape, and I will select a circle. Fair enough? I will crop one more time, and I will only select a small area here. So this is where I stay, or close to where I stay. So I'm going to select Patpatganj, right? Once I've done that, I'll keep it above the original image so it blends perfectly like this. Now only you and I know that there are 2 images. Everybody else thinks there's only 1 image. So I'll make a duplicate slide. And on this, I will apply a picture effect like this. And on the original image, I will change the color and make it black and white like this. So when I apply a morph transition, what happens is, please see this, I get this effect. Very cool. But I can extend that further. So I can now recrop it and say that I want to select a different region here like this. I'm just doing a little bit of a hurry, but you get the idea. Now I'm able to zoom in and I'm able to actually move it on the map. Very cool, right? Now you might say, but how do I even know that PowerPoint is capable of these things? Nobody knows, right? Different people, see, it's a tool which is in your hands. It's in the hands of the artist. You will be able to do as much as you want to do with PowerPoint. It depends on how much time and effort and creativity you're putting into it. But it's not like Excel that you have to first learn formulas and then more advanced formulas and features and all that. PowerPoint is a design tool. At the end of the day, you have to think like a designer. You have to think about colors and icons and images and videos and all of that. And you have to read a lot of other good work so you can borrow from that. Right? But everything I've shown you today, 100% has been covered in my course as well. The only thing you need to do is to give it some time and make sure you do all of this. So yeah, any questions, anyone?
I wanted to ask, may sound a bit silly, but with your saying like read more. So what does read exactly mean here? It's like reading different stuff and seeing what they are doing and how they are using all those different what to say,
Exactly. Do
font
you
and
see
all
how?
those.
Do you see I have a bunch of reports here by consulting firms? So let me open one of them. Let's say we have this capture report. Okay. Go through a report, right? Try to look at it not in terms of the context. So people will say, what is a report about? I say that doesn't matter. Just go through the report, see the way it has been created, the way colors are being used, the way what is kept in bold, right? Use of white space, where white space is being used, right? The way you're creating a break between some text and another image, right? That is what will teach you a lot. I'm not talking about the learning of the topic. I'm not saying learn about the telecom sector and the CPG sector. That you'll be learning in college. What I'm telling you is read a report to see the way a report has been constructed, right? I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Now, the challenge is, you will say, but I really like it. Look at the way this curve is coming. Do you see this? It's beautiful, right? They have this timeline, which is not a straight line, but they have basically made this very interesting timeline. Now, you might say it's very nice. They could have made a straight line. They did not. Why not? Because it looks so much better, right? But you might say, but how do I create something like this? Now, there are no shortcuts to that. If you say, I want to create something like this, you know, a line like this, you have to use insert shapes, and there's something called a scribble, right? But that's very difficult to work with. You also have a curve, which is what we're going to use right now. Actually, not the scribble. We're using the curve right now. So if you look at the curve, a curve basically works like this. You see this? I'm able to create the curve the way I want. But this is very, very difficult to work with, right? The curve. And after you create it, you can also edit the point if you want to customize it further. This is one of the most difficult topics in PowerPoint to work with. Curves require you to learn a theoretical topic first. It's called the Bezier curves. It's one of the first things you learn in designing. It's actually a mathematical concept applied to design, right? So when we talk about how does, see, if you look at computers is just bits and bytes, right? It's just zeros and ones. How does a computer know how to create a curve? Think about it. To create a curve mathematically, right? So for computer graphics, to create a curve mathematically, we have to write some equation behind it. When we draw something by hand, it's very easy to say, okay, make a curve. But how do you really make a curve? So that is where Bezier curves comes in. And again, I've given you the keyword, you can read about it, how it works. But this is how you have control points. So you basically say there's a start point, there's an end point, and there's a control point, and you have these handles that you can move. PowerPoint also uses something very similar to this. So if you're working on Illustrator or Corel Draw, this is what, I mean, a designer will not know the mathematics behind it, but you should know that there is mathematics behind it. So I like to read about all this because I mean, in addition to working in data, I love design, right? If not being a data analyst, I would have become an advertising guy or somebody in design, but that did not happen. But that doesn't mean that I don't continue to have a lot of interest in it. So I have a very deep interest in design. And I feel it's always good to have this knowledge, right? Like, I know what the Gestalt principles are. So the Gestalt principles are one of the key principles that we follow in designing. So when you're creating reports or presentations, it talks about different principles. It's a part of psychology that talks about how do people look at data, how do people look at infographics, right? Again, I won't get into details here. You can Google it. There's a very nice podcast. There's a friend of mine who's working with Adobe. Has been there for a very long time. And let me just open it. So I interviewed him, right? So it's about a 43-minute conversation. So we were speaking about design. How does design impact non-designers? What is design thinking? What is experience? What is UI and UX, right? So very, very nice conversation on this. If you're interested, you should have a look at it. He has been with Adobe for about 7 years now. He's an engineer, I think an electrical some engineer, who then went to IIT Guwahati for his master's in design. So he completely changed his track and he has been with Adobe for a really long time. So very interesting conversation that we had. Cool. Any other question, anyone? Yeah. Live project, what I'm going to do is I will be sending you all an email. Let me be very clear about one thing. You know the way I work. You've been with me for 12 hours now. I'm not going to give you a simple, clear live project that do this, do the research, prepare a 5-page report and come back to me. You guys have to figure out what is it that you are interested in, right? For example, I can give you some talking points. Let me show you. So like this, I'm going to share some points with you. For example, in HR analytics, you can create a project around the talent tracker, the 9-box grid. And I've also given you a link where you can do a little bit of reading or anything related to CNB, RNR, TND. In financial analytics, you can work on financial charts and anything related to Power Query, Power Pivot. In marketing, you can pick up anything. I've given you a link here, which is a book. So there are many topics mentioned in that. You can pick up anything related to it. Supply chain, I'm actually not very excited about it. So maybe we can skip that. But the idea is that these are projects that I'm currently working on. These are my clients, right? What do I do with them? I work on the 9-box grid. So I would like to enhance that. I would like to go deeper into that. So if you search for a topic like the 9-box grid, there is so much reading material on it. So you can search for the 9-box grid and this pages and pages to read on this, right? There are also some thoughts on why the 9-box grid should not be used. So there is a lot of theory behind it and a lot of practical application behind it. And the idea is that from an analytical viewpoint, you can create a dashboard. You can try to replicate something like this. You can take a sample data set. If you don't have a sample data, you can create a data set on your own. Any data set that you want will be available on Kaggle, right? So Kaggle.com is owned by Google. It has anything and everything you need on it, right? So you just type HR and you find data sets related to HR. All downloadable. So that's the idea. I'll be sending you this on an email. Ideally, I would like you all to work in a group because an individual can't really do much. What I would like, what I would expect you to work on is to go very deep into a small topic. So I would like you to follow, like a reverse funnel or not a funnel, but let's say a pyramid approach where you are talking about one topic, okay? Don't pick up training and development. That's very vast. Be very narrow, okay? Pick up a topic in T&D and then go very deep in it, right? try to read as much about it as possible and try to relate it to, if you're interested in analytics, then try to relate it to analytics. And you can create a dashboard on Power BI or create some model on Excel or do it on Tableau. You can pick up any tool that you wish to or work on PowerPoint, whatever you want. And then, of course, if you do a good enough job, of course, I will ask you to put it on LinkedIn so that you can share your work with others, right? And get their feedback as well. And every once in a while, some live project is fantastic and I like to show it to my clients as well, right? Like Sanjay, right? I have a lot of interns with me who did such a great job, even in live projects, where I actually show that work to my clients as well. So that's the idea. I mean, see, you have to help me create a good project for you. I cannot decide what project for you to work on because I work on so many diverse areas. You have to tell me what is it that you are interested in working on. Now, if you say, but I don't know what interests me, how can I help you? If you yourself don't know what interests you, how can I tell you what interests you? You will have to do some reading and say, you know, I think this area is very interesting. I want to get deep into it, right? Whatever that area is, it can be theoretical, analytical, whatever it is. So have your first go at it, read a little bit. If you have any questions, you can come back to me and I will answer that, right? You can just send me a one-line email or whatever, a one-paragraph email. I will reply to you right away. But if you come to me and say, you choose the topic for us, I'm not going to do that. If you come back to me and say, we have shortlisted these 3 topics, and this is an executive summary. This is what we intend to do with this topic. Then I will tell you, okay, do this, don't do this. This is great. This is maybe not so practical. That is my job. That does that give you some clarity?
Yes, sir.
Cool. What else? Anything else? Anyone?
Sir, how do you get? Go.
Tell.
Sir, how do you get to work with Sir World Bank, that ease of doing the index? I mean, getting a project for that.
So I was working. The firm is still around. So we were working with. I was working as a head of research with a small market research boutique firm called Trevor's Strategy Consultants, right? In fact, the entire website and all has been designed by me only. We were also listed as one of the 10 most promising market research firms in 2017. And if I can just open this, right? We were here, right? So it was a proprietorship firm. I was the head of research. And we did a lot of work. So let me see if I can show that to you. So we did the B school ranking, of course, I have done. Then we did a lot of political survey work, right, for Business World magazine. So all these things that you see, Modi's 7-year plan, is India GST ready? All of this was done by me. So what exactly is the question again? How did we get the project? So we got the project through Nielsen. So Nielsen is the world's largest market research firm. And most government work that happens in India happens through Nielsen or through the big fours, right? But Nielsen is a pure market research firm. While PwC, EY, KPMG are more on the consulting side, Nielsen is what does research, right? So your TRP, all of that is calculated by Nielsen. So we were working with Nielsen, and Nielsen was, we were a sub-vendor. So Nielsen was a vendor on record for the World Bank, and we were working with them. So Nielsen was working with DIPP, which is the Department for Industrial Policy and Promotion, and we were working with the Ministry of Commerce and DIPP for this. And we essentially did a survey, right? So I can't share all the data with you because it's all very confidential even now. But then we were expected to do surveys, right? So how the ranking happens is, it's all available on the internet. So if you look at the EODB ranking, there are different surveys that we do with chartered accountants and lawyers, right? So what we do is we speak to CAs and lawyers in two cities. We speak in Delhi and Bombay, financial capital and political capital. We will ask lawyers and CAs talk to us about different aspects related to business, registering a property, paying taxes, right? Like this, there are different questions. These are long questions, okay? 1.5 or 2 hour questions. Once we collate all the responses, we say that lawyers and CAs are saying that registering a property has become easier in India compared to last year. And on the basis of that ranking, That on the basis of those surveys is how we come to the ranking, right? So if you do the EODB ranking and you come to the doing business ranking, you notice that it's a scale from 1 to 190, and there are questions that are asked. So there are questionnaires. I'm not sure how I will show all that to you, but you can find it on the website, right? So how the rankings happen. So this is what we did for them. It was a very difficult project to work on, like all government projects are, because nothing went as per timelines. And the story is that I think the last one happened in 2014, and then it was supposed to happen in 2 years, but the last vendor who did it took 4 years to come up with the report. It got delayed. So end of story, we had to spend, we were given a very short span of time to do it. We had to create our own application. We created an Android app to, do surveys, because we were surveying different parts of the country as well. In addition to Delhi and Bombay, we were also doing state-wise surveys. So we wanted to do geo-tagging. So we wanted to make sure that if a person who's administering the survey is actually filling up the responses, he should be there in a specific zip code. So we want to measure that geocode. We wanted to measure that stamp to make sure that they are at that location or not. Probably this is something I'll be happy to discuss with you. You can invite me for a guest lecture one day. I'll be happy to share with you. Even though I don't think this is something you can learn a lot from. There was another project I did for SEBI. So SEBI did an investor survey every couple of years, right? So this is something we have done for SEBI a few times. I mean, we did once this one, the SEBI investor survey 2015. So I had done this end to end for SEBI. This is a very large survey. We speak to 70,000 people in India. And this is, again, something you can learn a lot from. So I'll be happy to share, my learnings with you. Actually, you don't need it. I mean, if you're in marketing and finance, all this is hardcore market research. Only if you're interested in market research, then you should study and listen to all this. If you're not interested in market research, then this is all needless. Don't get into all this. I mean, it's interesting to listen to it, but then you will not practically be learning or using all of these things like CATI and CAVI, web surveys, online FGDs, focus group discussions. If you're interested, I'll be happy to discuss it with you, because I did it for 3.5 years. But then, yeah, I'll leave that up to you. Good. Any other question, anyone, before we wrap up?
Sir, you said for live projects, you expect us to do it in groups. So what would be the ideal size you are looking for?
There is no ideal size, but I mean, if a group of 2 is not really a group, so maybe 3 to 5 people, probably. But then if you can work in a group of 10 and share your workload, you're managers, right? You're going to be managers. I think I'm okay with that. So there's no ideal size as such, but I think 3 to 5 probably is the correct size, because when you have 10 people, coordination, availability becomes a problem. 3 to 5 probably is the best size.
Okay, sir.
And don't choose a group on the basis of, oh, who do I like to work with, or who is easy to work with. You should choose a group member on the basis of, is the group member able to add something to the group or not? Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't look at who do I like. That is not a question at all. How does it matter if you like the person? Do you think that all these projects that I've done, I've liked the people who I've worked with? Maybe I don't like them. Maybe they don't like me. That's okay. The point is that, are you offering different skill sets? Somebody might come with 2 years of experience, so they might add some other type of value. You might be very good with the technical side, right? So you might add some other value. Somebody might have a good idea in design, so they might add some other value. So the group composition should always be basis the individual, so the 1 plus 1 plus 1 should be not 3 plus, but 100, right? That's how you have to look at it. But never ever consider the fact that, oh, do I like that person? Do I know that person? That shouldn't be the measuring stick, right? A group should be comprised of individual members who are all offering something different, so that you can learn from each other. If I'm also very good at visualization, the other person is also very good at visualization. What is the point of keeping 2 people with the same skill set? You should have every individual with a different skill set, right? I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, guys. I have a 10:30, so I will have to excuse myself.
So
but, for the tell me.
For 2 minutes, can we take some screenshots of the event?
Yeah, absolutely.
Students are requested to turn their cameras on, please.
Thank you. Very nice to see all of you.
If you could turn your videos on. All right. Sabin?
Yeah.
Go ahead with the screenshots.
Yeah, done.
Sir, on behalf of everyone present here, I express my sincere gratitude to you for taking one long week with us, and your insights are very helpful for us, sir. On behalf of IMI, I thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Right, and
We look forward for many more interactions with you.
Yeah. Be in touch. Any questions that you have my email. Just reach out to me anytime you want. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.